In this week's newscast, sickening sheep shearing footage reignites the animal welfare debate.
Let's march together. Cockburn communities walk in unity against Row 8.
And a milestone marks the comeback of the endangered Western Swamp Tortoise.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Staniskov.
Good evening. It's the footage that reveals the ugly side of live animal businesses. Disturbing videos of sheep being abused or killed for wool in Australia reignited the debate towards animal cruelty. Outraged animal activists are now urging the public not to purchase wool products. Darren McLean has this report, having warned that some of the images you're about to see may be disturbing.
The release of sickening footage of Australian workers allegedly abusing sheep while shearing went viral. Videos from animal rights group PETA shows that the sheep were stomped, punched and mutilated while being sheared.
There is no such thing as humane wool, and we simply don't need to be wearing the coats of sheep. So we're asking people to leave wool out of their wardrobe and instead choose from the many cruelty-free alternative materials that are available.
PETA Australia claimed the footage was some of highlights of cruelty acts occurred in 19 shearer sheds in Australia. An investigator documented 70 workers who allegedly abused the sheep. Animal activists in Perth were also outraged by the videos.
I don't think it will undermine the entire industry if the industry acts appropriately, and I think that the Shearers Association has come out in support of PETA and said that they don't support any animal cruelty is a great thing, and it would be good to see the National Farmers Federation back that up.
Federal Agricultural Minister Barnaby Joyce stood by sheep producers and the industry, but reinstated that the Australian government do not condone animal cruelty. In a statement, he said that there is no doubt these images are disturbing, but it is important we do not tarnish the whole industry based on the practices of a few and select pieces of footage that are yet to be investigated. Darren McLean, WAMN News.
To local news. Cockburn residents have always stood against the Roe Highway extension, and this week they protested by walking along the proposed route. Here is Ali Harper's special report.
Around 25 local Cockburn residents gathered for a special walk with a cause.
I think this one walk is actually worth years of campaigning in a sense, because people actually really get to see what's at stake.
A few weeks ago, both federal and state governments announced the funding allocation towards the controversial Roe Highway extension. The route will pass the Belia wetlands, a plan that local residents do not want to see happening. Every week, residents join together to walk along the proposed highway route in an effort to show the community why the wetland is an important ecological asset for WA.
I think it's really important for people to physically see what is at stake. It's an incredibly important and beautiful wetland, and this needs to be acknowledged.
It's a walk that some politicians are also keen to participate in.
I think there's a lot of work to do to raise awareness about just how big this road proposal is and what it means not only for the environment but also what poor economic sense it makes.
The controversial Roe Highway extension to Fremantle will cost $1.6 billion. The government hopes the road will be open to traffic by the end of 2019. Ali Harper, WAMN News.
Efforts to save the Western Swamp Tortoises has reached another major milestone. The 500th tortoise was released in Brucebrook as part of the conservation program to boost the endangered species. Cahli Samata reports.
30 Western Swamp Tortoises have been released in Twin Swamps Nature Reserve in Bullsbrook, bringing the overall number to 529 since 1994. The ongoing conservation program includes radio tracking and monitoring. The Western Swamp Tortoise is one of the world's rarest tortoises that were thought to be extinct until one was rediscovered in 1953. They live in clay-based wetlands and can live as long as humans.
They are the single most endangered reptile in Australia, but these are exceptionally rare. I think as part of our overall conservation strategy as a state government, they're clearly one of our key species, and that's why we run that breeding program with them.
Families also came to take part in the release of the tortoises.
Animals should be protected, so if they're starting to go down in numbers, they should be kept in captivity and protected.
That I'm here with my family and I released the 500
to tortoise.
A further release of 38 captive-bred juvenile Western Swamp Tortoises will happen later this month at Moore River Nature Reserve. Cahli Samata, WAMN News.
The government is warning you about an invisible killer that threatens your life. A Perth family's near-death experience with the colourless, odourless gas carbon monoxide is prompting everyone to check their gas appliances. Breathing in too much carbon monoxide can lead to headaches, fatigue, dizziness, vomiting, seizures, coma and death. The department urged homeowners to use gas devices in well-ventilated areas and follow manufacturer instructions.
It's advised that every 2 years for gas heaters to be serviced by and examined by a licensed gas fitter, and if the appliance is over 10 years old, they should be serviced annually.
There's a burning question right now in the western suburbs. Should Subiaco have high-rise buildings? The government said yes it should. Planning Minister John Day released an ambitious plan to construct 2 8-storey buildings behind the old Pavilion market site. It will provide shops, food outlets, hotel rooms and apartments. But the Subiaco mayor said the government's decision disregards the community's wishes.
Well, I understand the council has been against the scale of this development, that's understood, but at the state government level we have a responsibility to ensure that we intervene where necessary to make sure that public infrastructure, in which there's been a lot of investment, is made good use of.
And here are some other major stories that happened during the week. Australia's carbon tax is set to stay after the Palmer United Party crossed bench and voted against the repeal bill in the Senate, 37 to 35. The federal government will launch another attempt this coming week to scrap the tax. In world news, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe visited Australia and met with Prime Minister Tony Abbott. Mr Abe made a speech in federal parliament before signing the trade and military agreement with Australia. He also visited the mines in Pilbara and had dinner with Premier Colin Barnett.
And here's Cahli Samata with this week's top stories in science.
Thanks, Ivan and Danielle. An ECU survey has shed new light on the alcohol and drug habits of young West Australians. The Young Adult Drug and Alcohol Survey has looked into the drug use of 18 to 35-year-olds and is the first of its kind in WA to include synthetic cannabis. 63% of respondents admitted to using any illicit drug in their lifetime, and 14% had used synthetic drugs in their lifetime. It is hoped the research will continue to be conducted annually to track trends of drug and alcohol use. An image of deep space has shown the revolutionary capabilities of the CSIRO's Australia Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder radio telescope. Researchers released the image of distant galaxies and said its remarkable clarity proves the capabilities of the telescope. CSIRO's David McConnell said what struck him about the image is that even though there are very bright sources to the side of the field of view, there is no sign of corruption in the image. He attributes this phenomenon to the telescope's extra rotation ability and the telescope's wider field of view. Dr. McConnell said the telescope has produced the desired results. The planting of almost 50,000 native seedlings began this week at the Ellenbrook wetland in hopes of boosting the health of the Swan River. More than 1.3 hectares of weeds and 30 exotic trees were removed from the site to make way for the native plants. Of the catchment systems on the Swan Coastal Plain, Ellenbrook catchment is currently the greatest contributor of nitrogen and phosphorus into the river system, making the construction plan vital to prevent harmful algal blooms and improve the quality of water entering the Swan and Canning River. The state government has invested $1.2 million to deliver this project. And that's science.
Thanks, Cahli. Good work. That's all the news for now. Thanks for watching, and you can hop onto our website for the latest news.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next Sunday.
Good night.